From the boxing ring to your podcast station, here are the three guys that talk nothing but boxing. Ricky, Enrique, and Juan.
Welcome back to episode 59 of Boxing Talk. I'm your host for today, Kiki, and joining me as always, we've got Ricardo
What's up,
and
boxing talk?
Juan.
That was weird.
Yeah, ves como remember we were texting and you had texted me Enrique. I was like, what the compa? You never call
Yeah,
me Enrique.
because I always call you compa or
Yeah,
always call you Kike with the K.
yeah. So, so what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
What's up?
Guys, this seems like a while since
I'm
we
doing
last
good, compa.
recorded. I know, guys, we're usually coming out every 6 to 7 days with an episode. We went a little longer than usual this time around, what, a week and a half, but we're still at it. Had some scheduling things going on, but here we are again, and we're gonna discuss the exciting returns of two boxers and one fight also that I think easily thus far is fight of the year, and we're gonna dive into it, guys. Let's start off with the fight that happened on Saturday. It happened on what, like 5-6 a.m. our time, and that was
Hmm.
Triple Yi versus Ryota Murata. Compa, let me know what you thought of the return of Triple G. What are some pros and cons that you saw of him? What do you expect of him, and is he ready for Canelo? Just give our fans a quick recap first before you go start your thoughts.
Compa, so Golovkin wins via ninth round TKO and becomes the new IBF and WBA unified middleweight champion and improves his record to 42-1 with one draw and 37 KOs. So prior to the KO, judges had it 7-1, 6-2, and 5-3 for Triple G. Um, his performance, compa, he was worrying me at the beginning, to be honest. Ring rust. I thought he was struggling at the beginning of the rounds, but then he picked up after the sixth round and on,
Yeah,
and he dominated Murata. He punished his face. But like all Japanese
yeah,
fighters, they don't give
yeah,
up and they go for it, man. And my respect for Murata.
yeah,
It was such a great fight. And one thing that I loved about Triple G is how humble that guy
yeah,
is. I love how humble he is. He gave his robe to
yeah.
Murata, raised his hand, and then after that, I don't know if you guys caught it. He went to his dressing room and gave him back up the belt.
Oh,
You
yeah, yeah,
know, that was so cool of Triple
yeah.
G.
What about you, Juan? What did you think of Triple G's return? Because it was what, 16 months since he last fought. Did you think he looked like the Triple G of old, or did he look like an old Triple G?
Honestly, he surprised me, man. I think I wasn't expecting that much from Triple G. I was expecting more Murata coming out, showing the old man that is a new king, in the house. But that's not what I saw. I saw the old Triple G, the Triple G that is hungry and still ready to fight. I think he looked good out there. He dominated this fight. One thing I would say is I don't know if he will still be able to take on Canelo, man. That I don't know. Canelo's in a really good spot right now. I think he's at the top of his game right now. Triple G just looks more like towards the end. He looked super old in the weigh-ins. I was just like, man, this guy looks so dried up already. Freaking dry raisin up in
Yeah,
this thing. It's like this guy should retire. I think he's like his body taking a huge toll, with his age,
yeah,
obviously. And then all that weight cut and all that. Man, but hey, he looked great still.
yeah. For me, guys, I think like Ricky said, he had me worried those first 5 rounds. Don't get me wrong, Triple G was landing his punches too, but he was getting punches landed on him.
Hmm.
Uh, the punch that was affecting him a lot was the body punches. Those body punches you can tell were hurting him. His legs looked slow at first. Like I said, he was punching, he was landing, but he was getting hit a lot. And again, going off what Ricky said, from the 6th round on, he just stepped it up, went on another level, and he looked like the Triple G of old. Uh, well, those first 5 rounds, he looked like a 40-year-old Triple G, but maybe he just needed to get used to being back in the ring. I mean, he hadn't been in the ring, guys, for 16 months. So to come back um, at 40 years old after 16 months off and get a knockout, but not just any knockout, guys. He knocked out a champion. Let's not forget Murata was a champion too. Uh, and now he becomes one of the three middleweight champions. He's got two of the belts, and he's there along with Charlo and Andrade. Although we're foreseeing that Andrade is going to vacate, especially since he's going to be fighting Zach Parker next month at the 168-pound division. So we'll see how that pans out as far as who goes for Andrade's belt. But Charlo's still there. Triple G's still there. Normally, guys, we go over who's next for Triple G, but we all know he's going to fight Canelo next. That's pending if Canelo, you know, beats Bivol, because that's going to be a tough fight for Canelo as well. Um,
Yeah.
and if that does happen, they're going to meet in September. At least that's what's on the contract for the trilogy match. Like Juan said, it's going to be a tough fight for Triple G, especially if he comes out looking like he did those first 5 rounds. If he looks like the Triple G that came out in round 6 through 9, then he has a good shot still. But we'll see. That's another 5 months that are going to pass for Triple G. So um, regardless of the outcome of what Triple G does with Canelo, whether it's a win, a draw, or loss, I think he should retire after that fight for sure. But guys, I was just happy to see him. I was up at 5, 6 in the morning watching that fight. It was a lot of fun getting to see Triple G again. But moving on to the next,
Did you get up at that time, Copa?
yeah, I was up at like 5, 6 a.m. I had family
Jeez,
over, so
man.
we were up kind of late anyway. So just kind of eased into watching the fight. But guys, another exciting return. I know a lot of people anticipated this guy's return. He was out of the ring for 15 months. Injuries, mental health issues. But that's Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tegao. Um, just a quick recap, guys. Garcia did win by a unanimous decision. So now he improves his record to 22 victories, no defeats, 18 knockouts. He did not knock out, but he did knock down Tegao in the second round. And judges had the fight at 11-1, 11-1, and one judge 10-2 for Garcia. Juan, go into this fight. I want to get your thoughts first. Then we'll get what Ricky thinks on this fight. What are your thoughts on Garcia versus Tegao? What are some pros that you saw of Garcia, and what are some cons? What would you like to see of the guy?
Man, I think, in my opinion, it was great seeing Garcia back, but I don't think he has that power in his hand, back to his hand yet. I feel like that surgery has affected him like tremendously. This should have been a KO, in my opinion. It shouldn't have gone the distance. Every punch he took didn't look as great, so I don't know, man. I didn't really like his performances this fight.
What about you, Ricky?
We talked about this, Enrique, about Garcia. You know, during the he could have ended him during, was it the second round or later in the round? He could have ended Tagio, but he couldn't finish it.
Mm,
He still has a speed there, but like Juan says, I don't think he has the power to beat him.
yeah.
So I think all the other contenders out there, they're gonna pose a problem to Garcia, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Here's my take, guys.
Also, with
Pros. I'm
that
gonna
being
go over
said,
the pros first. Go for it. Go for it, one.
I just think Garcia is way too slow now. I don't see him being as fast as he was before. I felt like he was too big for this fight. I felt like he came in a bit heavier, and you could tell it's taking a toll with his weight. He needs to cut down, or he needs to go up a lot. Like he needs to go up to the 140 now, so that he doesn't cut down too much anymore.
Yeah.
Or do you guys think that him going to Goosen camp affected him for this fight?
I don't. I mean, of course, it's gonna affect him because He's working with the new trainer. They're getting used to each other, even though they've worked together in the past. But for me, here's my take on it regarding just the fight itself. As far as pros, uh, I have to agree. He does have his speed. I don't think he's slow at all. Juan still. I think he's still got his speed there. You guys got to take into account the guy has been out for 15 months. He was trying to go for the knockout. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We don't know. He looked desperate to get the knockout. He wanted to perform for the fans, but
Yeah.
part of it, guys, is Takeout too. Look at the opponent. Did Takeout want to fight, guys? He did not want to fight. That guy stepped in there to survive. He didn't step in there to win a fight, guys. He stepped in there to survive. Now, granted, guys, when Garcia has faced a guy that's there toe to toe, he knocks him out. What's easier for you guys, you think? A moving target is easier to hit and land cleanly, or a target that's stationary to land cleanly? You know what I mean? So Tega was not there to take punches. He was trying to survive. And that, so part of the pros is that Garcia, dominated the whole fight. Regardless of what people are going to say, he did dominate the fight. Now, the biggest cons for me, guys, the guy left his hands down way too low, did not cut off the ring, and where was his jab all night? He like was not throwing any jabs. He needs to, especially for a tall guy, lanky guy like him in those smaller weight divisions, because as he goes up in weights in the weight classes, the guys are going to start being about his size. Right now that he's the bigger man, he needs to utilize that jab, keep those guys away from him. That way he can set up for the strong right, because his main punch is that left hook, guys. He was not. Yeah, he got surgery on the
Hmm.
right hand, but that's not his power punch. He's claiming now he has a power punch, and he did, believe it or not, wobble Tegao. I think what was it in the eighth or ninth round? He wobbled him with the straight right. And
And that's when I thought he was gonna end him,
yeah,
but he didn't.
and that's what's tough is like whenever he could have ended him, Tegao would clinch or he'd move around. It's hard to hit a moving target. I do agree with Juan though that I don't think he's ready for the big guns just yet, especially since he just got back. You just got your feet wet. Get another fight or two before you challenge some of these champions. And going into that, guys,
And
who would
and
you?
also
Yeah,
Kike,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Also, Kike, I think that Ryan Garcia still needs to work on his defense
Oh, for
because
sure.
Tego was landing punches
Yeah.
that the same punch that Campbell knocked him
And
down.
that's what I'm
He
saying.
landed a
Like
couple
he
of them.
he 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 had his hands way too low. He needs to tuck that chin.
Yeah,
He
yeah, he
needs to
did. He
utilize
did.
that jab. And against a moving fighter like Tegao, he needs to learn how to cut off that ring so the guy doesn't have many places to go. And that way it does set up for him to be able to utilize his speed and power. Because the guy still has power, the guy still has speed. Um, I mean, you don't knock down a guy and then wobble him and later in the rounds not having power. When you're able to wobble a
Hmm.
guy or knock him down, you have power still, and that includes speed as well. But is he ready for like champions like a Cambosis or Haney? No, those guys have been active. Those guys have been on it. Those guys are on a different level right now. Is he ready for a tank? I don't think so either. Get another fight or two with some top contenders, and then maybe we'll see how you look in those fights, and then talk about a title. But speaking on that, guys, who would you guys like to see him in there with next? I mean, we already said Cambosis Haney. I don't think he's ready for that. He can take the winner of Tank versus Rolly. He could take Teofimo Lopez if they decide to fight at 140 one day, or if Teofimo's willing to go to 135. He's got Lomachenko still there, but again, Lomachenko's busy with the war. You got the new Argentinian contender in Gustavo Limos. You got Jojo Diaz, although Jojo Diaz saying he's going to go back down in weight to 130 to fight Jono Carroll. You got the new guy that beat Burchell and Jeremiah Nakatila. He can fight as well, or he can fight the winner of this weekend's fight in Isaac Cruz and Gamboa. Which one of those guys would you guys like to see him fight next?
I
I would
would
like to see Pitbull, man, if he's victorious.
What about you, Juan?
I would have liked to
I
see
mean, they
him.
were they were in talks in the past.
I would have liked to see
What was that,
him.
Juan?
I don't. I don't think that Isaac Cruz would happen ever because of all the shit talking and then the first talk, just falling down and not happening at all. But I
Yeah.
think a good fight for him would be Jojo Diaz. It was already in talks. It was supposed to happen, but obviously, his surgery came up. Jojo Diaz would be a good measuring stick for him since he fought Haney already. Why not take it against Jojo Diaz?
Haney,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for me, guys, obviously Cambosis Haney, the winner of that's not gonna happen because if unless Cambosis comes out the winner, then maybe he can fight Cambosis. But if Haney comes out the winner, there's gonna be some time pass because then they're gonna have to rematch. And then if Haney wins again, Haney's most likely gonna take on Lomachenko. So Haney and Cambosis kind of out of the picture. Um, Jeremiah Nakatila's there, but Nakatila's with ESPN. Jojo Diaz, yeah, that's a good opponent for him. I agree, Juan. But like we said, Diaz is looking to fight at 130. Uh, when it's going to happen, I don't know. But depending on that, he's going to have to wait for Jojo Diaz to get that fight out of the way. And I don't think Garcia wants to wait. He wants to stay active this year. Um, Gustavo Limos, he's kind of a free agent. Unless Limos is gonna have to be the B side and come over here to the states, which I don't think Limos has fought over here in the states yet. So that can be a problem in itself. Lomachenko, he's busy with the war, so he's kind of out of the picture. Lopez moving up in weight, he's out of the picture. And Tank versus Rolly, I mean, I don't think De La Hoya says he wants to make the Tank fight, but De La Hoya knows his boy's not ready for Tank, dude. So I don't know. I think it does look like Compa said. I think the most likely fight would be because look, he's been in talks with Pitbull Cruz, and he's been in talks with Gamboa before.
It exactly,
So the winner of that fight,
and they shit talked.
yeah, exactly. They shit talked, and Gamboa was a backup opponent when he was gonna fight Jojo Diaz. So the winner of Pitbull Cruz and Gamboa, come on, take Garcia next. That would be a good fight for him.
Oh man, that would be such a good fight, dude. If that happens.
But yeah, guys, I think even though we were excited for the returns of these two exciting fighters in Triple G and Ryan Garcia, I think this fight took the show this weekend. Maybe not the biggest names in the boxing world, but definitely took the show, and it was a brutal fight, guys. And that was the fight between Erickson Lubin and Sebastian Fundura. Juan, since you picked
The
the winner of
Towering
the
Inferno.
you picked the winner of this fight, and Compa and I picked the loser. Let us know how this fight went and what your thoughts on it were.
Yeah, so Fundura actually won in the ninth round. Referee technical decision, and improves his record to a 19-0-1 with 13 KOs. Fundura dropped Lubin once in the second round, and then Lubin dropped Fundura once in the seventh round. So it was a really close and back and forth match, or well, not fight against each other, but
Yeah,
I think we saw a side of Sebastian Fundura where he was hungry. Like I told you guys, he's young, he's up and coming. He keeps showing why he should be taken serious. His height, did I would say did play a good factor. But Lubin, man, Lubin showed a lot of heart, showed why he was winning,
speaking
and prior to prior to the
and
defeat,
Juan.
Lubin was up in the cards. Go
Oh
ahead,
yeah, I
DK.
was gonna say, Juan, because you mentioned his height. Uh, Terrence Crawford, I think, was saying that Fundura is like a cheat code in a video game. Because I mean, we've been saying to
Yeah.
guys, who the hell is 6'6" in that division? I mean, you barely see some heavyweights that are that height. But yeah, I mean, uh, for me personally, I knew Fundura could do it because of his height, but like I said before, his momentum, he didn't look good his previous two fights, and that's why I was going more so Lubin. Lubin was going on the up and up, and to me, Fundura, with when the competition was getting better, he was kind of going declining. But hey, that's why it goes to show you every night is a different night. Every fight is different. Um, Fundura really, like Juan said, he stepped up and showed why he should be taken serious. Also, like Juan said, Lubin was winning that
DK.
fight in the on the judges' scorecards. All three judges had Lubin winning until
DK.
Lubin finished them.
And and the amount of punishment Fundura
Dude,
endured
did
on
you see
Lubin, man, his
Lubin's face?
face,
Oh
his
my
face
god.
was swollen.
Cole, when you put this video up, man, please put a picture of Lubin's face, man, because dude, that his face was
Shout
jacked
out to
up, man.
Cole.
Yeah, shout out to Cole, the producer. He's in here right now, watching our episode. But yeah, man,
Behind the scenes.
freaking Lubin's face was jacked up, dude. I think one side of his cheek was like out
It was
here.
bad.
His forehead was, dude. He looked like the guy,
Yeah.
like the guy from 300, the movie. What was that? The one with the hunchback?
Oh yeah, yeah, that ugly
Jeez,
guy.
yeah. Or he looked like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know his
he
name.
looked like one of those orcs from Lord of the Rings, dude. Jeez, man, poor guy.
Or Quasimodo.
Yeah, or like
Quasimo.
Juan, dude.
Yeah.
Chingada madre, dude. No, but guy, el quasi.
Actually, if
No,
he was
pero
like me, he would have.
Yeah.
If he was like me, he would have won that fight. Obviously, that's why
yeah,
people keep
sure, huh?
ducking me nowadays. What can I say?
Oh my god, I'm not ducking you, fool. Come on.
But what?
I didn't duck you. I took you on already in the sparring session.
Yeah, then you don't want to take me on no more.
Dude, but what?
I'll take you
Anyways,
on still.
What?
all right, we'll see if that's true. We'll record it, compa.
What punishment, man? What
I know,
punishment?
dude, but guys, who you want to see Fundura? Because this was a title eliminator, so technically now this is supposed to set up Fundura for the winner of Charlo Castaño two. But also, I mean, guys, you got Tim Su waiting there also. So who would you guys like Fundura to face next? I mean, uh, does even though he knocked out Lubin,
Oops, sorry.
does does Lubin deserve a rematch? Because, like I said, guys, Lubin was winning the fight on all three cards. So, does he deserve a rematch with Lubin? I'm speaking. Does Lubin deserve the rematch, um, or is he ready for the winner of Charlo Castaño too? Or should he take on guys like Jack Colque? Should he take on the winner of Liam Smith versus Jesse Vargas? He's got Israel Madrimov there. He's got Magomed Kurbanov, and like we mentioned earlier, Tim Su. Who would you guys like to see Fundura in there with?
I don't think a rematch, but like why a rematch? He won.
Yeah,
It was a good match, but he obviously won fair and square. There was no controversy there.
yeah,
So I personally would like to see him with Tim Su.
yeah. What about you, Juan?
Yeah, see, I
What?
have to agree with Ricky there. A Tim Su fight, they're both set to go for the winner of Brian Castano
Mhm.
and Charlo, but I also think a good fight for Fundura right now would be a Jesse Vargas, the winner of Jesse Vargas versus Liam Smith. Two guys that are well known in the division, two guys that have been in there with a lot of great fighters, and this would be a good measuring stick for himself. Prove himself still that he's ready for the top guys, and why not take the winner of those two, or a Tim Suit for like an eliminator basically,
Yeah.
to be the one that actually goes against Brian Castano or Charlo.
Yeah, I think the next easiest fights to make for Fundura are Charlo Castaño, the winner of that one, because Fundura's a PBC fighter. That fight, they're both PBC. Also, the fight with Tim Su. Tim Su is a PBC fighter now. So those are the two easiest fights to make. Um, but I mean, Fundura does deserve his title match. I mean, this fight said it. But is he ready for it? I don't know. We don't know yet. But in the meanwhile, if Tim Su and Fundura want to duke it out to see who gets the winner, have at it, man. Have at it. Any of those fights for him are good, and that's really gonna test his grit. He already defeated a top guy in Lubin. Could he get the rematch with Lubin?
Hmm.
Like Compa said, he already won. He proved it. But the simple fact that Lubin was winning that fight, I think could justify a rematch. Now, if Fundura had ended the fight in a knockout and Fundura was dominating the fight, then yeah, screw a rematch. Who would want to see a rematch when you dominated the fight? But the fact that all the judges saw it for Lubin, and not only did they see it for Lubin, but remember, guys, Fundura did get knocked down by Lubin, so it
Hmm.
was a close back and forth match. So we'll see. I doubt the rematch happens, but my preferred is with Tim Su. That's a good fight right there. Just because of the height factor too. We'll see.
And I think also Fondura will sell later on because not to sound mean, but he's kind of like an attraction. He's a tall ass boxer that you don't see,
Yeah, exactly. It's
in that weight
well,
class.
yeah,
It's
man. It's
insane,
like
and he's good.
it's like going to a fair or something. You pay to see an amazing thing. That's Fundura.
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
never gonna see a guy that's 6'6", 154 pounds. You know what I mean? Um, you just don't see
And
that.
remember,
So
guys, we met him and we were so short compared to that
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
And
I
I
was
was
up
up
to
to his
like his
tits.
his I was like up to his nipples. Juan's was up to like his hips
This guy.
and yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah, tall guy.
Juan looked like a leprechaun next to him. But yeah. Uh, but all right, guys, that was our fights for the weekend. Let's delve into our boxing news that happened during this last week. A lot of news going on around the boxing world, some updates, some rumors, some fight announcements. We're going to give it to you guys all. Let's start with the news of Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Compa, let the fans know about that.
So this is not official. As Eddie Hearn states, nothing is finalized, and also made mention that Usyk did lose 20 pounds due to the war. But Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua will meet July 23rd in a rematch for the Unified Heavyweight Championship, most likely in Saudi Arabia. So that's the news on that. And
So,
hey, I'm glad that Usyk is okay. You know, he's doing okay, even though
yeah.
he was in the war. So this will be exciting if it happens.
Yeah. So just a quick update, guys. I think ESPN reported this, and Eddie Hearn came out saying that pretty much this is not true. That July 23rd is the date they're looking at, but nothing is finalized, and they're also concerned with Usyk losing so much weight. Remember, guys, at the last weigh-in, Usyk
Yeah.
was 221 pounds. According to reports, he's lost 22 pounds, so he's at 199 pounds. So
Jeez.
technically, he's a cruiserweight right now, which obviously, yeah, people could say, "Oh, eat a couple of hamburgers and you're good." No, guys, it's not about that. If you're gonna pack on weight, you want to pack it on well. You want to pack on muscle. You want to pack on good, healthy weight.
Muscle, yeah.
Especially when it's a high caliber match like this, you can't just pack on weight by eating junk food. Anybody can do that, yeah, of course, but their concern is that Uzyk's not going to be big enough uh, in time. You know what I mean? So we'll see. That's why there's a concern if this fight even happens or not. I think ESPN released this info prematurely, but let's hope it does happen. If July 23rd is the date, hey, we have it marked on our calendars already, and let's make it happen. I know Eddie Hearn especially wants to make it happen in London again, but supposedly it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. We'll see. We'll see later down the road and in the future what happens. But Juan, give our fans an update on the Kubrat Pulev fight.
Yes, Kubrat Pulev. Well, Triller Fight Club has announced that Kubrat Pulev will now be facing Jerry Forrest on May 14th, replacing his previous opponent, Andrew Fedosov. Forrest last fought rematch in December 2021 against a top heavyweight contender, Michael Hunter, in which he had a controversial split draw.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on Pulev switching opponents? He was supposed to fight Fedosov. He's now fighting, I think, a better opponent in Jerry Forrest. Remember, guys, we saw Jerry Forrest, which we thought he defeated Michael Hunter, which we were surprised at
Hmm.
that. Everybody thought Hunter was just going to roll through him. And but what are your guys' thoughts on his changing an opponent?
I mean, I think it's great. Like you said, better fighter. It challenges it more. You can tell that maybe Pulith. Do we know why the change happened at all? Do they ever say, or did
No,
the
they
other
didn't.
opponent
They
pull
didn't
out? No,
say.
nothing.
They
Maybe
didn't say
so.
no.
Maybe Kerbat wanted more of a challenge. He wanted to challenge himself. Wanted to show that he can still be out there. He can prove to people that he's a great fighter. We don't know yet, but I think it's great that he is fighting Forrest. Like we said, he had a great fight against Michael Hunter. We thought that he had won, but it was controversial there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, and I mean, Jerry Forrest is what is he? 26 wins, 4 losses, one KO, and 2 draws, I believe. So he has a good resume,
Yeah,
Jerry Forrest.
yeah.
So that
On
should be it should make it
Yeah, it's definitely a better fight for Pulev. Which who knows? Like we said, Forrest looked good against a top contender in Hunter, and Pulev is not getting any younger, guys. I think Pulev is in his what 40s. So he's definitely
yeah,
getting
I think
older.
so.
I'm actually gonna be attending that fight with my wife, so that'll be exciting to watch. I think Pulev is going to be the co-main event. The main event is obviously going to be Sergey Kovalev versus who's he fighting again? He's fighting Pulev's brother, Tervel Pulev. But yeah, guys, I think this is a good move. Good move as far as for the fans and getting a better quality fight. But I don't know if it's going to be a good move for Pulev, especially since he's been
But
out of the ring for a while as far as boxing. But we'll see. What's up, Juan?
you're not going to a fight. You're going to a concert, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
Going to a
right.
concert. Trillerverse rap battles.
Rap
Uh,
and Snoop Dogg.
yeah. But yeah, guys, more news in the cruiserweight division. Uh, hate to say this. I hate to have to announce fight cancellations, but we have to, guys, in case you had them jotted down in your calendar and we're looking forward to it. This one you could cross off your list because for the second time, Midas Briedis versus Jay Opataya gets postponed. This time it's because Opataya suffered a rib injury during training, which obviously has to push the fight back. They're saying supposedly in June or July now. Uh, Originally, this fight was supposed to happen back in April 6th, but it had to get canceled April 6th because Briedis contracted COVID-19. So then it got rescheduled for May 6th, or not May 6th, sorry, May 11th. But now that obviously gets scratched. So that's just an update on that fight, guys. I mean, us doing this podcast now, guys, we've seen that this happens a little too often. Injuries,
A lot.
sicknesses, whatever it is.
COVID.
I mean, we saw the Teofimo Lopez and Cambosis fight. Fucking, I don't think nobody's gonna take that record. That one got canceled like what 6 times. But this one two
Yeah.
times now. But we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, we get a new date soon, and we'll see where we go from there. Compa, you want to let them know about a guy that's going to be returning to the ring?
Yeah, he's going to be returning nearly after nearly 2 years. But former light heavyweight champion Elader the Storm Alvarez, which is 25 wins, 2 losses, and 13 KOs, will return to the ring. Again, like I stated earlier, for the first time in nearly 2 years, but this time as a cruiserweight, guys. He will fight on May 5th in an 8 round bout against an opponent to be announced later on.
What?
Damn, that's a long
Yeah.
time.
I think his last fight was against the champion Joe Smith Jr. He got whooped on by Joe Smith Jr. And that's how I think Joe Smith Jr. got his strap because at that time Elader Alvarez was the champion and Joe Smith Jr. Took it from him. So hey, he's returning, but this time he's gonna return to cruiserweight. Uh, he's one of many light heavyweights that are starting to make their move to cruiserweight. Kovalev's going to return as a cruiserweight now too. Later, Alvarez is going to return as a cruiserweight. You got Zurdo Ramirez who's talking about moving to cruiserweight. So a lot of these 175 pounders, they're tired of cutting weight. It seems like, and they want to make the cruiserweight division. So, what are your thoughts, Juan, on getting to see? I think is he from Venezuela or Colombia? I want to say he's Colombiano. I think. But what are your thoughts on his return?
Just having the last name Alvarez, you already know he's in the win. The last name is a historic last name. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Alvarez,
um,
uh,
no, I think it's great.
Copa, he's a Colombian boxer.
Colombia. Yeah, there you go, Colombia.
Nice.
Yes.
So it's great to have him back. He took a 2 year layoff, so um, why not try to come back in a spectacular way? Maybe a KO, so that people
Yeah,
keep talking about you. You're in people's mouth, and you're going around.
yeah,
Something that I look forward to seeing in him is I hope, and I do really hope, is that he doesn't like just come back and goes again unactive for like another 8 months or
yeah,
so. Hopefully he
yeah.
takes this fight and comes back for another like, oh, I won a not KO. I'm gonna fight in 2 months now. So make sure that he's active. Make sure that he's consistent on those fights.
My thing is that he's coming back on May 5th, which is a Thursday.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
Well,
weird.
he kind of had to set it up that way because who's fighting 2 days later? Canelo.
Let's
So
see.
he's got to get
Yeah.
his shine somehow. But guys, we'll keep you updated on that as far as when an opponent gets announced. Also, what what program is going to show it, if a program shows it. But we'll keep you updated on that as more news come along with that fight. But we're just excited that Elader Alvarez is returning. But Juan, let us know about another guy that's returning. We've kind of been mentioning his return. We just didn't know a date yet. We still don't know an opponent, but let them know.
So, former super featherweight champion Jamal Hearing is set to make his lightweight debut in May 21st against an opponent to be announced later. After taking an L against Shakur Stevenson, the guy got beat up, but I hope he comes back and bounces back. I think it's exciting to see him coming back for May. Um,
Mhm.
I hope it's against another top guy and it's not just not a tomato can. But obviously, we might
I doubt
think that
it.
he's gonna go against probably one of the tomato cans just so he can bounce back, show people that he's still there, he still got it, and show off his skills and showcase.
Juan, you already know that whenever they announce a fight and there's no opponent named yet, you know it's going to be a tomato can. Especially when he's making his debut at 135. Uh, Don't get me wrong, guys. Jamel Herring he started his career off as a 135 pounder, but he dropped down in weight to try to get a strap. He was campaigning and became a champion at 130 for a while, and now he's moving back up. Uh, so I don't know why they're calling this a debut. He's fought at 135 before. Um, he's going to return with a new trainer. But you already know, Juan, that whenever it's an opponent to be announced later, you know it's going to be a tomato can guy. It's going to be a guy that's going to make him look good. But what are your thoughts about getting to see Jamel Herring return, compa, especially with all the drama that's going outside the ring with him?
Dude, Semper Fi,
Yeah,
man. Semper Fi is an exciting fighter. I want to see him back. I love the last fight he had against Shakur
yeah,
Stevenson. I'm excited to see him.
yeah,
I'm excited to see him back.
yeah,
And I hope it's not against a tomato can. But like you said, Copa, earlier, it's always when it's to be announced, it's usually a tomato
yeah.
can.
Especially since we're a little over a month left out, and that's what 4 or 5 weeks from now, and no opponent named. Yeah, it's gonna be a no namer. But
Hey,
regardless, getting to
hey,
see
hey
them.
Juancho.
What's up?
Juancho, can you do me a huge favor? Can you put your mic closer to you? Because I can barely hear you.
I think it's just you. It's
There we
user
go.
error.
There you Oh, there you go. There you go.
It's
Good,
user
good,
error.
good,
uh, but
good.
yeah, guys. In more news, the WBA has been doing a great job of this, in eliminating so many belts. They had the gold belt, they had the regular belt, they had a Jesus Christ, they had so many belts. But in another step of the WBA's world title reduction plan, the WBA Championship Committee has ordered the bout between featherweight super champion Leo Santa Cruz and the regular champion Lee Wood. What are your guys' thoughts on this uh, being ordered? Do you guys think it happens? Do you think it doesn't happen? And if it does, who wins? Why? Just let me know your overall thoughts. Juan, let's start with you.
And I think I'm a Leewood. I kind of like Leewood. I like how he fights. So obviously, man, what can I say? Santa Cruz always shows why he's a champ. He's a dog. He's a monster man himself. But I
This
think
would be a good fight, dude.
Santa Cruz would probably
What
beat the
about
shit
you?
out of Leewood, man.
What about you,
Oh,
Koba?
compa, I'm going. I mean, Leo Santa Cruz, man,
Yeah,
and I mean, yeah, dude, he's exciting. Yeah, he had a devastating KO against Tank, but I mean, I think Leo Santa Cruz is still a beast, man.
yeah. We'll see. Let's hope this fight does get made, guys. Like we say, even though these sanctions order fights, they don't always happen. Let's hope this is one of the fights that does happen so we can determine the true WBA champion. Even though right now the true champion is Leo Santa Cruz, but Lee Wood does deserve his shot to challenge him for that title. Because the
But
fight between Lee Wood and Conlon, that was a title eliminator. So hopefully that fight does happen.
I mean, since we're already on that topic of reduction of the belts, Mayweather spoke out against this too. This week, I believe, when he said that when he was a champ and he was fighting, there was no such thing as other like in-room belts, any type of things like that. It was just that one belt, and
Yeah.
you were the champ. and we all agree with that. It's like you have all these other belts, and it gets confusing at points where like not the diehard fans, but like the fans that are really coming into the sport don't know who the champ is. They'll say, "Oh, Davis is a champ."
Well,
No,
like
he's not.
exactly, like people think Tank Davis is a champion, like you just said, but he's really not
Hmm.
a champion. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, they the WBA so far has been doing a great job of you know of eliminating belts, and they're continuing to do so. So hopefully that can continue. But guys, another ordered fight this time by the WBO. They've actually ordered the rematch fight between Kazuto Ayoka, who's the current champion, versus Donny Nietes, which we last saw him fight. Who was a Jimenez, and he got a draw in that fight. Um, remember, this is a rematch. Uh, Back in 2018, which is 4 years ago already, Nietes actually defeated Kazuta Ayoka via split decision. So if this happens, does Ayoka take it this time, guys, or does Nietes take it again? I mean, Nietes is getting older; he's in his late 30s now, pushing 40. Um, this would be a good rematch. Does Nietes deserve it? I don't know. Especially his last fight, he had a draw with Norberto Jimenez, and that fight maybe should have gone Jimenez's way. But if this fight does happen, what are your guys' thoughts?
I think
Man,
Ayoka is in
I
a
think the young buck would take it.
same here, same here.
Ayoka.
Yeah,
Yeah, their first
yeah,
fight was a good
Ioka.
fight, but Nietes edged them out. Let's hope that fight happens, guys. Like
Yeah,
we said, we always want to see the good fights here, so that would be another exciting fight if it does happen. Obviously, we're going to keep you updated as to what continues to be brought up and happen in the boxing world. But compa, I know you were kind of excited about this news. You want to let them know what's going on with the Cuban fighters?
yeah. You know what? After watching Ugas' documentary on Showtime All Access,
Yeah,
Ugas actually brought it up during that episode,
yeah,
and I'm excited for all these young, talented Cuban boxers that this was lifted. But for the first time since 1962, Cuban fighters are free to compete professionally, o como le llamaban prize fighting, without
yeah.
needing to defect. The nation's boxing federation lifted the 60-year ban after striking a deal with Golden Boy Promotions, which will host a May 20th show in Aguascalientes, Mexico. I'm excited, guys. What do you guys think about this? Awesome news.
Yeah, and that's actually with Golden Ring, compa. I wish it was Golden Boy. Then they'd bring more
Golden Ring,
Cuban
sorry.
fighters. Yeah, but
I don't. You're
hey,
right.
man, like you said, compa, so many good Cuban fighters out there. Guys like Erislandy Lara, guys like Luis Ortiz, guys like
Mhm.
Yordenis Ugas. The new crop of Cuban fighters that came up through the Olympics this last Olympics. The Cubans have been known for their flashy fight style. They're very true to boxing. Um, but they always had to fight amateur. And if they wanted to fight professionally, they would
Mhm.
have to defect from Cuba, come over here illegally, and fight.
Mhm.
Now they can freely come and prize fight in Cuba, prize fight out here freely with no worries. So that it's good because uh, for some of these people, they fight to get money out of this, to make a career, to progress their families, and now that they're not banned from doing so. I mean, who wouldn't be happy for these guys, especially the talented guys that could make an impact? Because I'm pretty sure Cuba has had its fair share of champions, but I'm sure they've missed out on a lot of
Yeah.
potential champions uh, because they decided not to come over. Because there's some of those champions that decided not to defect. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what are your
And
thoughts,
like
Juan?
Uga said, I think it was episode. Sorry, guys. I think it was
Yeah,
episode 2 that Ugas brought this up, and I know that when people cross the border, everybody risks their lives, to come to the United
yeah,
States. But Ugas shared his experience, and he had to spend 2 days in the open sea to
yeah,
come here. So, like he said, he could have died, but he
yeah,
made it. Luckily, he was blessed to make it to America.
yeah. What about you, Juan? What do you think on this?
I mean, this is great. Obviously, it's always great to hear that fighters are able to fight freely and not having to go through this whole you can say dilemma or not even dilemma. It's just this whole issue regarding two countries. Um, I think it's extraordinary that the fighters can just are able to represent their country freely and be proud of where they're from and not have a like a ban or type of thing on top of them. So
Yeah. But going on to other news, Juan, what do you let us know about your boy Floyd Mayweather? Let us know what he's
man,
up to.
this guy's on something else. Well, at first, he was supposed to fight this whatever
He's
well,
making
from
money.
guy from
Money
Dubai,
kicks.
right? Money kicks that guy.
Yeah.
But now Floyd Mayweather is will return to the ring. Kind of. I like how you put that in the notes. um, for for a May 14th exhibition bout against club fighter Don Moore, will with the bout taking place in a hotel helipad in Dubai, which I think is completely stupid because you're like higher in the air and thin air, you're gonna fucking gas out faster than ever. But okay, um, and then Anderson Silva and Baru Jack will also be part of the event. So, what do you guys think about this?
Legendary
It
MMA
sounds like
fighter.
it sounds like a stupid idea to us, but it's a smart ass idea from Mayweather. He's gonna break in the money, man.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy.
It's
Supposedly it's gonna
stupid
be
though.
a small event. It's just gonna be for a select few of people. I'm pretty sure those select few are paying top dollar. These I'm telling you, these fuckers are probably millionaires. They'll be paying top dollar to watch Mayweather in action. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it, guys. I know I've always said in the past I'll watch whatever fight, but I'm not gonna give Mayweather another one of my dollar, dude. He doesn't need it. He's gonna get other people's money, dude. Like he's another one that like Julio Cesar Chavez that said he was never gonna fight again, and look, here he is, exhibition or not, he's still fighting. So these guys just cannot stay out of the limelight. I mean, I guess this is just Mayweather's like part-time gig now, is exhibition bouts.
Yeah, it is.
So
He's making money, man. Hey, and talking about Mayweather, did you guys hear about Adrian Broner also planning to come back? Showtime is
man,
planning
compa,
his
I
comeback.
don't even want to talk about that. That dude Broner, he's bro. Like, when did he last
That
fight? Like a
that guy's
year,
just
two
coming.
years ago.
Yeah, what
He's coming back for a
He's
paycheck,
just
I
coming.
think he's
obviously.
been more in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming. He's been visiting jails more than having
Yeah,
bouts.
exactly,
You
dude.
know,
So it's like
I was when I read this that Showtime is doing this. Like, really? Like, why? Leave Adrian out.
I don't know.
He doesn't deserve
I
it.
don't even think he's a top.
That
He's
fool's more
not a
broke
top
than
guy
me now. That's
anymore.
why he needs to fight.
Jeez. But we'll see. We'll see when time comes. We'll see if he actually does fight or not. Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime, is saying he's gonna uh,
Mhm.
make a fight for him. They're looking at dates and stuff, and supposedly Broner's in camp out in Colorado to show how serious he is. But we'll see. Um, Obviously, that's another guy people are still gonna pay to watch him. So I don't know. We'll see. But
He had
guys,
a promising career, man. He had a
we've
promising
gone
career.
over our fights over this last weekend. We went over some news. Now let's go into some exciting fights that we have coming this weekend, in a couple days actually. The good thing too, guys, is we're previewing 4 fights, and all 4 fights are going to be on the same network. No bouncing around networks, guys. No bouncing from the Zone to Showtime to ESPN. I know our boy Max Orange. He makes it work somehow. Watching one fight on the laptop, another on the phone, and another one on the TV. That's how we are at times too, having to watch these fights. But they're all going to happen on Showtime, and let's get into it. I'll go ahead and preview the first one, guys. The first one's going to be Radzat Butayev versus Aimanta Stanionis. This is going to be for the WBA World Welterweight title. Uh, not the super title, guys. So not the main. This is like the secondary champion. So the real WBA champ is I believe is Ugas. Is it Ugas? Yeah, it is Ugas. So Ugas obviously fighting this weekend as well. So this is essentially a title eliminator for the winner of Spence Ugas. So this is going to take place at the AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, April 16th, 2022. This is the only fight, guys, that's going to take place on Showtime. The other three fights are on Showtime pay-per-view, but this fight's on Showtime free television, Showtime 4 p.m. You got Radzab No Mercy Butayev, who is the WBA world champion. He's 14-0 with 11 knockouts. He's orthodox, 5'11". He's only 28 years old. He's from Kasavyurt, Russia, but he currently lives in Indio, California. His last fight was against Jamal James, which he won by ninth round TKO back in October of 2021. So he's coming off a 6-month layoff. He hasn't really fought anybody of caliber yet, but this is going to be a good fight between two young, uh, undefeated top contenders, guys. So this is what we like to see: is the undefeated contenders fighting each other instead of ducking each other. So you got Emantas Stanionis, who's ranked number 1 in the WBA, number 9 in the WBO, and number 13 in the WBC. He's got 13 victories, no defeats, 9 knockouts. He's also orthodox. He's 5'8", 27 years old. He's from Kaunas, Lithuania. His last fight was against Luis Colazo, which ended in a no decision fight due to an accidental head clash. That was back in August of 2021. So he's coming off an 8th-month layoff, and his notable opponent, which was actually that guy we just mentioned, Luis Colazo. What are your guys' thoughts? Both of these guys undefeated, both of them in their prime, 27 and 28 years old, duking it out, putting their O's on the line. What are your guys' thoughts on this fight? Who are you going with and why? Let's start with you,
Like
Ricky.
like we always like 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 we always say, this is a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, this is a great fight.
I think these two young bucks, yeah, this is a good fight because we don't know who's gonna win. Either one can take it. I think this is gonna be an exciting fight. These guys they're gonna be hungry, uh, but I'm gonna go with No Mercy Butaev. Um, I just think that he's gonna overcome Stanionis.
What about you,
Now,
Juan?
would it be 12 rounds? I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
think this is a competitive fight. Might go 12 rounds.
What about you, Juan?
And I think I'm gonna go with as well with Ricky. I think the champion is
Ricky's
gonna
not fighting no
overcome.
one. He said I'm gonna go with Ricky.
Just kidding. The champion. So the champ. I'm gonna go for the champ.
Butayev. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yep.
have to go with Butayev. I think when we last saw him fight Jamal James, we previewed that fight too. I think all three of us thought Jamal James was gonna win that fight because we didn't know about Butayev, but he came out of nowhere and he dominated Jamal James. Jamal James was the WBA champ, and then Butayev took it from him. So he looked good in that fight. Um, Stanionis, very good, young, talented fighter. Hey, we got to see who's younger. These are the good fights. Like Ricky mentioned, this is a 50-50 fight because both are in their prime.
Mhm.
Both are undefeated. They don't know the taste of defeat. So they're both going to go at it. Uh, and what a way to open up the show. And this is going to be on Showtime at 4 p.m. here, California time, guys. Let's go into our other three fights that we're going to preview. This is going to be on the pay-per-view card. This is going to be Showtime pay-per-view. All of these fights, guys, are also going to take place on April 16th. They're all going to be at AT&T Stadium in Texas. But this card is going to start at 6 p.m. and our time. Ricky, go ahead, preview that. These fights are in order of what they're going to go in. Um, let's preview that first one, Rick.
So the first fight we have Cody Crowley versus Josito Lopez, which I'm surprised he's still fighting. This is a welterweight, which is a 147-pound fight. Cody the Crippler Crowley is ranked number 6 by the WBO, number 14 by the IBF, and number 15 by the WBC. Crowley comes in with 20 wins, 0 losses, and 9 KOs. He is southpaw. He's 5'10". He is 29 years of age. He's from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. He last fought Kudratilo Abutakarov which he won by unanimous decision on December 2021. So he has a 4 month layoff. He has no notable opponents. Josecito, the Riverside Rocky Lopez is ranked number 7 by WBC. He has 38. He has 38 victories, 8 losses, and 21 KOs. He is orthodox. He is 5'10". He is 37 years of age. He's from Riverside, California. He lost five Francisco Santana, which he won by 10th round TKO back in December of 2020. So he has a 16-month layoff. He has a couple notable opponents. Some of them are Jesse Vargas, which he lost by split decision on September 2011. Victor Ortiz, which he won by ninth round back in June of
Referee technical
2012.
decision.
Uh, Yeah, referee technical decision. He has Canelo Alvarez, which he lost by fifth round TKO on September 2012. He has Marcos Maidana, which he lost by sixth round TKO back in June of 2013. He has Andre Berto. Man, I wonder what happened to that guy, which he lost by a sixth round TKO back in March of 2015. And he has Keith Thurman, which he lost by majority decision back in January 2019. I know who I'm going for. Juan, who are you going for first?
I think I'm going for the Canadian man. I think Crowley showed up the other fight. He showed up against a good fighter who was Cutatillo. I think yeah, everyone was thinking that this was an easy fight. Cutatillo, Crowley was supposed to be the underdog. Crowley came out to show who he was, and he surprised us all. He's a guy that is a dog. He'll keep fighting. Josecito Lopez is on his towards the end of his career, 37 years old. I think it's time for Crowley to basically be showing the old man, you know what, it's time for you to retire, and it's time for me to step in and start being in my prime.
Yeah, dude. Crowley's in his prime, 29 years old. Josecito on his way out, 37 years old. I'm surprised, guys, that Lopez is actually ranked higher than Crowley in the WBC. In the WBC, Lopez is ranked number 7, and Crowley barely tops the top 15 list by being number 15. So, obviously, like Juan said, I think this is Cody Crowley's time. He impressed me the last fight. Remember, guys, Abdukakharov was supposed to be the mandatory to Errol Spence. So that says a lot, him beating a guy that was supposed to face the champion. Josecito Lopez is just a guy that I think is supposed to keep him busy, but a guy that's been, as you notice in his resume, he's faced good guys, but he's lost to all of the good fighters. And I think that's all this is a measuring stick fight for Crowley to see, are you ready to face the next level opposition, especially against a guy that's been in there. He's lost, but he's been in there and he has experience being in there with guys like Canelo, with guys like Jesse Vargas, guys like
Mm-hmm.
Victor Ortiz, Maidana, Berto, Thurman. Guys, that's a fucking great resume, and that's not bad to lose to some of those guys. But it is just
Mm-hmm.
that a measuring stick. I'm going Crowley, guys. What about you, Rick?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Everything you guys said. I don't even know why Lopez is still fighting, to be honest with you. And I'm also going bet based on the 60-month layoff. I'm going
Yeah,
Crowley.
sounds good. Juan, preview this next fight. One, I know he's one of your favorite fighters, and two, you guys are about the same height. Actually, these two fighters are about the same height as you, so you know they're your compadres in that sense.
I think I'm
Oh my
the
god, just
second tallest in boxing. No, well, not like Cole's in here. I'm the third
you.
tallest in boxing
Nah,
too. So
you would be a giant compared to these guys, dude.
yeah, man, poor these guys are
So
like
break it
dwarfs
down
to
for us,
us.
hon.
They're Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, Oompa Loompas, man. Um,
Oompa Loompas.
but
Break down
you
the fight
have
for us.
Isaac Cruz versus Yureski Gamboa. You know, lightweight, 135-pound fight. Isaac Pepo Cruz is number 4 WBC, number 4 WBO, number 11 IBF, number 13 WBA ranked fighter who has a record of 22 2-1 with 15 KOs. Orthodox fighter, 5'4", at the age of 23, from Mexico City, Distrito Federal, Mexico. So his last fight was against Davis, where he made a name for himself, Gervonta Davis. Where he stood toe to toe with him and lost by unanimous decision in December 2021. So he's had a 4 month layoff. And his
That fight
notable
was a
fighters have
draw,
been
Juan.
Francisco Vargas.
I agree.
Uh, well, they gave it to Davis, man.
Well, yeah, I know.
But Francisco Vargas, where he took a W, Gervonta Davis, he took an L, and now Yoreski Gamboa, who is was the last champ in 2011. So Yureski, el silicón de
Yuri
Guatemala. What the
Orkis.
fuck? Yuri.
Ciclón, Juan, not silicón.
Oh shit!
El
I thought it
ciclón de
said silicon. I was
Guantánamo.
like, what?
He says silicón.
Oh shit!
Ay,
I
ay,
was like,
ay.
what? I was like,
Do
what?
you even know what ciclón means?
No, what the fuck is that?
Ciclón es, no que muy mexicano, güey. Ciclón es cyclone. Oh my God.
Oh, ciclo. Okay.
El ciclón
But
de
he was thinking
Guantánamo.
silicón.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh,
But Gumboa is not ranked. He's a 30 and 4 with 18 KO fighter, orthodox, 5'6", age 40, from Cuba. I'm not gonna fucking say where the like city is. That's just
Guantánamo. Oh my
Guantanamo,
God. Guantánamo, Cuba.
Cuba,
Ay, ay, ay.
Cuba.
Cuba.
Um, his last
A ver,
fight
say
was against
ciclón
Devin
again. It's say Yuri
Silicon.
Orkis. Then you can tell me how to say Cuba. Silicone, anyways.
His last fight was Devin Haney, who took an L back in November 2020 with a 17-month layoff. So that's been, man, I remember seeing him fight Haney. I thought it was way closer than that. But he's fought notable fighters from Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Roman Martinez, Terrence Crawford, um, Daniel Ponce, and then you got Orlando Salido, all that he's fought throughout his whole career.
All right, so who are you guys going for? I think I know the answer, but give us a breakdown of why you're
I,
going for
I,
that
I
person.
think for me, I think for me, Gamboa, I mean, he's fought great boxers in the past. But again, we talk about age. He's on his way out too, man. He's 40 years old. Now, when you
Yeah,
talk about Isaac Cruz, he fought a spectacular fight against Tank, which I agree with you, compa. It should have been a tie. I think
yeah.
that should have been a complete tie. I'm going for Isaac Pitbull Cruz because he's made a name for himself and he proved it in his last fight. I hope he wins.
What about you, Juan?
Same here, man. It's Pitbull made a name for himself. He's up and coming. He's still young, 23. So I think he's in the outshine this guy. It's like passing the torch to him.
Yeah, I'm going Pitbull Cruz as well, guys. Like you said, he looked good against Tank Davis, and this is a fight for him. Yeah, he's fighting an older guy, but this older guy was a former champ, and it's for him. It's for
Yeah.
Cruz to make a statement because legends like Terrence Crawford have been able to knock him out. Tank has been able to knock him out, even though when Tank fought him, he was on a crippled ankle. And still
Mm-hmm.
couldn't finish him until the 12th round. And then Roman Martinez, who not many people know about, but Roman Martinez also KO'd, uh, knocked him out. So actually, no, he defeated Roman Martinez. The one that knocked him out was oh no, I think those are the only two guys, Davis and Crawford, because Haney didn't knock him out. Haney barely beat him by unanimous decision. But yeah, I'm going with Cruz, and hopefully Cruz knocks him out, man, just to make a statement to show that he's not just anybody in the lightweight division. That he's not just there to win, but he's there to win in spectacular fashion. But guys, the most exciting fight of all this weekend, that's the fight between Errol Spence Jr., who's finally returning. He's been out of the ring a while, versus Yordenis Ugas. This is champion versus champion, guys. This is the IBF, the WBC, and the WBA super belt that are on the line. So this is a unification fight at the welterweight division, 147 pounds. This is for three straps. You got Errol, the Truth Spence Jr., who is the IBF and WBC World Welterweight Unified Champion. He's got a record of 27 victories, no defeats with 21 knockouts. He's a southpaw. He's 5'10", 32 years old. He's from Long Island, New York, but he currently lives in DeSoto, Texas. His last fight was against Danny Garcia, which he won by unanimous decision back in December of 2020. So, guys, we haven't seen him in a year and 4 months. We'll finally get to see another great return. We're we're kind of getting spoiled with these returns now, man. We had Ryan Garcia, we had Triple G, and now we got Errol Spence. Look at Errol Spence's resume, guys. I mean, he's fought guys like Chris Algieri, Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia,
Jesus.
Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and now Yordenis Ugas. This is why, guys, I think Errol Spence is a top 5 pound for pound fighter. He's not only a champion, and I know a lot of guys say Terrence Crawford will whoop his ass, but guys, look at the resume, Errol Spence. He ducks
Yeah,
nobody. He's been
that's
fighting everybody.
impressive.
Um, and let's see how he looks in his return. He looks better than ever, guys. He finally, for the first time, got a, a, a nutritionist for this fight because he's always struggled to make 147. But looking at his live workout today, he looked great. He didn't look dried out like he usually would. He looked amazing. So let's hope that that goes well for him. Hey, I'm wishing the best for Yordenis Ugas too, though. He's a great father, great boxer. They're both good fathers. So
Mhm.
this one, whoever comes out on top, I'm gonna be happy for. But previewing Yordenis Ugas, you got Yordenis 54 Milagros Ugas. Copa, you want to tell him a little bit about that moniker before we go into it? Why his name
Yes,
is
and
54 Milagros?
we've actually brought this up in the past when we previewed him against Pacquiao. We questioned
Yeah,
ourselves, why 54 Milagros? So
yeah,
Ugas nicks his nickname 54 Milagros or 54
miracles.
miracles comes from two people in his life. Number 54 refers to a baseball player, Aroldis Chapman, who wears the number 54, and is Ugas' best friend, who actually helped him when Ugas
Yeah,
was down. He was his lifeline. Chapman was
yeah,
his lifeline. So of course, Ugas took that. And gave him $20,000 to get him back in his feet, and is now a
yeah,
great friend of Ugas, and that's why he chose his numbers 54. And um, Milagros is the name of Uga's mom. So
yeah.
54 Milagros, which is
So
awesome. I
that's
love
where
that.
Yeah, that's where his moniker comes, guys. So if you ever see Ugas, when you see him this weekend, you'll most likely see him wearing the number 54, which he does for a lot of his fights, and that's why it's for Roldis Chapman, who's a pitcher for the New York Yankees, and then Milagros is his mother's name. But yeah, he's the WBA
And
Super
Chapman is
World.
also from Cuba.
Exactly. So Ugas is the WBA Super World Welterweight Champion. He's got a record of 27 victories, 4 defeats, 12 knockouts. He's orthodox. He's 5'9". He's 35 years old. He's from Santiago de Cuba, and he currently lives in Miami, Florida. All these Cubanos live in Miami, Florida, huh, compa? Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
think
crazy.
it's the weather.
Yeah. His last fight was against Manny Pacquiao, which he won by unanimous decision, and which elevated Ugas's name big time by
Mhm.
beating a legend like Pacquiao. That was back in August of 2021. So he's coming off an 8 month layoff. Damn, guys, can you believe it's been 8 months? It feels like we just saw that fight yesterday. Uh, but
Yeah, for real.
some top guys that Ugas has faced is Sean Porter, Omar Figueroa Jr., and obviously, like we mentioned, Manny Pacquiao, and now he's facing Errol Spence. So he's got a good little resume himself. Guys, who you guys got this fight and why? Ricky, break it down for us. Who you got?
Guys, like you said, Kike, I'm a fan of both these guys. Both of these guys have shown through their All Access on Showtime that they're both parents, they're both dads, and they care about their family. But aside from all that, this is so tough to choose, guys. But I'm gonna go Errol Spence. I'm gonna go Errol Spence, but I hope that the eye surgery doesn't affect him in this fight.
Yeah,
Um, and whatever bodily injuries he sustained from that almost fatal crash that he suffered, I hope that doesn't affect him here either. But I'm going Errol Spence just because his resume. He obtained a nutritionist, and I think he's going to come out victorious. Knockout, I don't know. I think it
Yeah.
might go to the distance.
What about you, Juan? Do you think Ugas can shock the world, or you got Spence as well?
I got Spence as well, man. I think Spence is the top five, pound for pound fighter. I've always had him up there, so I think he's like he calls himself the big fish, and he is. I think he's gonna take the victory and he's gonna win.
Yeah, guys, I love Ugas. Great fighter. Edito, I know you hate Ugas,
Hmm.
man, but the guy is a great father, great boxer as well. Both great fathers, both great boxers. But yeah, like you guys mentioned, Spence is just on a different level. Doesn't matter how much time this guy takes off.
Yeah.
He's a once in a lifetime type talent, kind of like a Canelo. I'm not saying he's as good as Canelo, guys, but he's pretty close up there. He's one of those few fighters that no matter what, he's just talented. He puts in the work. The guy's humble, soft spoken. I'm gonna have to go with the Texas native in Errol Spence, and hopefully he looks good doing it, and that way we can finally get that Spence versus Crawford fight next. If not, Spence already said he's gonna move to 154 after this fight. If he's gonna pursue, if he wins, obviously he's gonna pursue the Crawford fight as much as he can, and if he can't get that fight, he's going up to 154. So, um, wish nothing but the best for these fighters. It's going to be a great fight. We've been getting spoiled lately with great boxing matches lately. Every weekend, pretty much every weekend. I think we've only had one weekend so far this year where we didn't have a top level fight. So, guys, thanks for the previews. Four fights, a lot of boxing. Um, I think we all agreed this for this coming weekend, and going about agreeing on that. Just an update on our leaderboard, guys. For those of you just tuning in, and those of you that have tuned in before, we like to keep a leaderboard of who picks correctly when we make previews and who doesn't. Um, Juan took another jump up on us by picking correctly all three fights last fight. I think the only one we disagreed on was the Fundura and Lubin fight. Ricky and I went Lubin, and Juan
Lubin.
went Fundura, so he took a dub on that. So updates on the leaderboard thus far as of April of 2022. 30 fights we've previewed already, guys. Juan's got a record of
Jeez.
25 and 5. That's a great record. I've got a record of 22 and 8, and Ricky's got a record of 20 and 10. So all winning records so far, guys. But Juan so far taking a bigger lead now. So uh, that's it for today's episode, guys. Ricky, anything you'd want to say to close this one out?
Yeah, and hey guys, I know. I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't be successful. We reached recently 5,500 downloads, so thanks to you guys. Keep listening to us. I hope that this is keeping you updated with all the boxing news out there, and we're a good resource for you guys. So thank you again for that.
Juan, anything else?
Yeah, thank you guys for the listens and thank you for interacting with us and to all the new followers. Thank you guys for being out there, interacting with us, and please stop hitting us up with crypto coins and stuff like that. We're not into that.
I know, dude. I think we had like three people try to scam us today, and then the other day somebody tried to,
Just
yeah. And
today,
then the other day we had somebody trying to ask us for help, and they were scamming too. Oh man. But anyways, guys, thanks. I forgot to mention earlier about our social medias. Follow us on Instagram at Boxing Talk Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Boxing Talk Pod, and then we have a YouTube channel now. Just type in Boxing Talk Podcast or Boxing Talk. We should come up. We're just starting out in the YouTube world, so maybe if you like not only listening but also seeing a visual of what we look like, what the faces behind the voices, and seeing our reactions. We like to joke around. Remember, guys, this is our hobby. We don't do this for a paycheck or anything like that. We do this for fun. This is something that we have a passion for, and we like to get together like a group of guys just talking about boxing. So episode 59, guys, episode 60 coming next. We're getting inching closer and closer to that magic number of 100. uh, let's keep it
jeez.
up. I know we've gotten good feedback from our fans about, the format that we have, keeping people informed, updated on the most recent rumors, the fights coming up, all of that. So thank you guys, like Ricky said, for everything. Like Juan said as well. Um, Thanks for keeping us motivated and continuing on this journey. But have a good one, guys. Till next time.
And, and thank you, Cole, the producer.
Thank you, Cole, the producer. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.